Hi all, it's Karen and
Pluto!
here for Karen and Bluto's on another review channel with another movie review.
Awesome movie.
Another good movie we watched. We got this through DVDs through Netflix. Lock Up. Sylvester Stallone, 1984.
What?
Rated
9.
1989. Oh my god, I couldn't read my handwriting. 1989.
And you
sorry.
say my writing looks like scribble crap.
An hour and 40 minutes. I'm usually scribbling while I'm doing this. I'm lucky I can read my handwriting after half the time. So it was like an hour and 40 minutes, I think it was.
Close enough.
So we start at the beginning with this picture montage.
Obviously, we started at the beginning. We were going to start in the middle.
Maybe we start at the end. We have a movie that started at the end that we'll be reviewing.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But that's stupid, right?
No. Anywho, so it starts off with this like picture montage in the garage, and we meet Stallone's character, Frankie. And he's kind of cleaning the pictures, hanging them. His girlfriend eventually shows up. They leave. They go to the park, and Frankie's playing football in the snow with some of the kids. And him and his girlfriend, after he's done playing the football, him and his girlfriend are like, oh, it sucks, you have to go back and everything else. So she drives him. Basically, he's in jail. We're not sure if he was on like a work release or what.
How about you know how that works?
Yeah, I don't know, because it was like, it seemed like he was allowed to leave the prison for the weekend, and I've never heard of that. So
maybe he's special.
And he's like real good with all the inmates and the guards even. He's just like the model prisoner, it seems like. I don't remember if they ever say why he was in jail at this point or not.
Yeah, they do explain it though, don't they?
I don't remember. Because this is my first time watching this.
I thought they said it later. I don't know.
I might have missed it. I was just focused on what an asshole Donald Sutherland was in this. Anywho, spoilers. So, in the middle of the night, these random group of guards come in, basically with paperwork saying, "What are you doing?"
Sorry. Your hair looks nice like that.
I'll keep it pulled up if you're going to play with it.
Nope.
Basically, this group of guards and their head guard or whatever come in the middle of the night with papers, go into Frank's cell, rough him up, and he's being transferred for some reason. It's not explained. It's not
yet.
Nothing's like said like why this is happening, because he's in pretty much a minimum security prison and he's being transferred to like a high.
Because he's gonna get high.
Yeah, no, like a higher. I can't think of the word.
A maximum prison.
Yes, thank you. Oh my god, guys, it's been a long week. So
I'm here.
Yeah. So basically, once he gets to this other prison, I can't remember what it's called, the warden comes out, and Frank recognizes this guy, and he's questioning why, and the warden's like, oh, increased regulations, da-da-da.
Da-da-da.
Da-da-da. So they eventually get Frank in. It comes to the next day. He ends up getting escorted down to the execution chamber. And that's the end of Frank. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. So basically the guards shove him in this room where the electric chair is and close the door. And the warden happens to be standing outside, and he's going on about how he had this rebuilt from the original or something. He's just going on about stuff.
It'll make sense later.
And basically what happens is Frank knows the warden. The warden is basically dirty. He needs a bath. No.
I was going to say, yeah, you don't look dirty.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not, he's crooked is basically what it comes down to.
Oh, he's like.
Yeah. So, and basically what kind of happened, I guess Frank was incarcerated where he was warden at one point and found out about him being crooked and dirty. He somehow escaped, got the warden in a lot of trouble, and the warden was basically sent to this hell of a prison to oversee it. So basically he tells Frank, this is my revenge. Yeah, you have 6 months left, and I'm going to make your life a living hell.
Very good. You're understanding this movie.
Yeah. Except I still don't remember why Frank was in jail.
I think they said it, but I don't remember either.
Yeah, I don't remember. Well. If anybody knows, put it in the comments.
Yep.
Anywho, basically it goes, I don't know if it's the same day or the next day. Basically, they're out in the yard, the prison yard. That's later. It's a mud hole. And like Frank's just kind of wandering around, keeping to himself, and you could tell all the prisoners are sizing him up and everything. Well, he goes to sit down in a couple spots, and this one guy, I think his name is Chink, is what they call him.
That's funny.
he's kind of like,
He was a predator.
basically what it comes down to is he's the warden's like head crony, you eventually find out. And he basically starts harassing Frank and is like, that's my seat, that's my seat. Well, Frank basically is like standing up for himself. Chink takes out this shank and is going to kill him. Well, the one guard that kind of likes, and he ends up liking Frank,
Yeah,
is
he's
looking
cool.
out for Frank, comes to break it up. Well, Chink gets rid of the shank.
That should be a song.
Yeah, really. Say that 3 times fast. And basically the prisoners like are taking it out of the way, and the guard is like, you're going to solitary, going on. And Chink's like, do you see a shank on me? Do you have any witnesses? And he points to Frank, and Frank's like, well, I didn't see anything.
Nope.
So basically everyone goes in. The guard looks at Frank, goes, you could have been killed. Why are you defending him? And Frank basically goes, I'm not following your rules. I'm following the prisoner's rules. So basically it's kind of like, don't ask, don't
you got
tell.
your rules, we got ours.
That's basically what it is. He says, you got your rules, like we got our rules. So
he ain't no snitch.
Yeah. So and in between all this, his girlfriend keeps trying to find out like why he was transferred, why he was moved. She's like at the prison, basically raising hell. At one point, the head guard chief, whatever he is, basically said, like, yeah, it was just a routine transfer, because she's questioning like, well, why was he transferred? He was a model prisoner. He shouldn't be here. You know, he only has so much longer to go and everything else. Excuse me, I'm getting dry mouth. So, in the middle, at one point in all this, this one prisoner named Dallas starts talking to him, saying, if you're planning to escape, let me know. I'll help you out.
Yep.
And so later when Frank's work, I don't know what part of where he's working, like his job release in the prison or whatever.
He's working on cars.
Well, no, that's later, but he's working on that one part where he's like getting paint or something off, and Dallas comes and has those blueprints. And he's explaining how they can escape up these hot pipes. You okay, my friend?
Oh, no, I need a drink.
Okay, Bluto's done coughing his head off. So,
I need a drink.
Anyways, this inmate, Dallas, shows Frank these blueprints. He's like, oh, we can escape. We can go up and hit these hot pipes and oh my God,
hit pipes. The hot pipes.
And all that. And Frank's just looking at him like, dude, you are crazy.
We're going to shimmy slide.
And he says, yeah, we're going to do the shimmy slide. And he starts like doing this move. And Frank's like, funny. What? It looked like I was probably on a stripper pole or something.
Oh, yeah.
And he keeps telling him, it's a stupid idea. How are you going to get up and not hit these hot pipes and everything?
I'm going to throw you some dollars.
So Dallas, that was the other movie. Dallas basically, oh yeah, it was a stupid idea. He crumbles up the blueprints and throws them down this hole.
He must sound like the color blue.
Oh, excuse me. So, eventually, Frank gets the rest of his cigarette off of him. He drops it down the same hole that the blueprints went down and sees it's water. So keep that in mind. So eventually, him and Dallas are in the mess hall. And there's this young kid there that's kind of getting harassed and everything. So they go over and try to be friendly with him. And Frank's like, well, what's your name? And here this kid's in for like killing people, but he's saying he didn't do it. What, you see the fly? You want lunch?
Sorry, I'm like a frog.
But, and basically they're trying to get nice with him, and Frank's like, what's your name? He goes, killer, I guess. That's kind of what he does.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he does.
So in the middle of all this...
That's original.
Yeah. So in the middle of all this, Frank sees this one inmate going over towards another inmate with a shank in his hand, and he basically tells Killer, he goes, put your foot out.
That was a blade.
Well, it was something. Everything's a shank to me in prison.
I thought a shank is a stab.
No, that's the kind of weapon they use.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
But Frank's telling Killer to put his foot out. And Frank's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing... And basically this one prisoner stabs the other prisoner. And Frank looks at him and goes, I told you to put your foot out, basically. So what it comes down to is Frank kind of starts mentoring this guy. And somehow in the middle of all this, they start calling him first base. I kind of missed what that came in.
I think he was talking about chicks.
Yeah, some chicks or something. And he was saying about, I guess, not being with a woman anymore or something. So they started calling him first base. I don't even know what his real name was.
It's not really important.
But like I said, it kind of comes down to this point that Frank kind of starts mentoring this kid. So we go to Bluto's probably one of his favorite scenes from this movie. The football in the mud in the yard.
That's the way football should be played.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome watching this. But prior to all this, too, Dallas was trying to help Frank get in, working in the garage. And the gentleman who's was the head, the prisoner, Eclipse, was like, no, I don't want any.
He's funny.
Yeah, he's a good character, but he didn't want Frank initially there because he's like, I got no beef. You got a beef with the warden.
Warrant.
Yeah, the band. No,
I was gonna say, hey.
But he's like, no, I don't want that broad here. They leave me alone. So they're doing this whole football thing. Well, Chink eventually gets Frank coerced, basically, to play.
Gets him what?
Coerced. He kind of like coerced. Basically, he's like, you flipping wuss, you know, everything else. And Frank's like, fine, I'll play. Well, like, basically what happens is, like, all of Chink's gang members, so to speak, and him, like, basically start beating the crap out of Frank, no matter what, even when plays are over. And nobody really interferes because somebody says, why isn't somebody helping? And somebody's like, no, they're teaching them a lesson. You stay out of it. So, like, first base and Dallas are on the sidelines, like, yelling and screaming. And eventually, Eclipse comes in. And it's so funny because one of Chink's guys, I think, was on Frank's team and, like, messing with him. And Eclipse, like, picked him up and, like, threw him and said, get over there. And all that.
He's a cool football player.
He's a good football. He's a huge African-American guy, you know.
Like Refrigerator Perry.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like Bubba Smith from like the Police Academy.
Yeah, you look kind of like him.
Yeah, that's immediately who he reminded me of, except maybe a little bit heavier. But that's immediately who I thought of when I saw him and everything. So basically, at the end, Chink and his friends do a couple dirty plays, and basically the guards then call everybody to come back in, and Eclipse is trying to help Frank get up to get in, and one of the guards is like, you don't worry about him, you worry about yourself, he needs to get in, and so on. So somewhere in the middle of the night, Frank's sleeping, and the warden comes and starts tapping his ring on his bar to wake him up, and Frank just kind of lays there and says, you won't break me. So at this point, the warden needs to up its ante. So the next morning, Eclipse comes to his cell and is like, hey, do you still want that job in the garage? So he starts working in the garage, you know, fixing different vehicles, different cars and the prison bus or whatever.
He fixes the bus.
There was a bus sitting in the background, I just noticed. I don't think they really show it or anything, but Eclipse makes a comment about how he's really good with cars and where he learned. I think, didn't he say his father or his grandfather or some gentleman?
I just remember the montage.
Yeah. So,
in the 80s movie without a montage.
Yeah. But at one point, Frank asks, after they're done working for the day and smoking cigars, which isn't okay in prison.
I like cigars.
That's what that'd be considered contraband, but they have it hidden. Yeah. So, Frank asks what's under this sheet over yonder, and Eclipse goes, that's my personal project.
And this is the part I was thinking of.
What's that?
This is the part I was thinking of, the montage.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so he takes the tarp or whatever, the covering off, and here I don't remember what year, it's an older model car.
Is it a Mustang or something?
Something like that. And Eclipse is more focused on body, and Frank's looking at an engine. He's like a parts man, engine, making it run.
Together.
And he's like, oh, does this engine ever run? And that's when Eclipse goes, no, it's old. He was saying what it was, because it wasn't the same model car as the engine. And like I said, I'm very dumb when it comes to cars.
I know about spaceships.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Sometimes.
I can crash them.
Yeah, it's about the only thing you know. So Frank's like, I bet I can get this running, and da-da-da. So basically it ends up breaking into this big montage with Eclipse, Frank, first base, Dallas, and a couple other guys working on this car.
The guy with the bird, too, right?
Yeah. The Birdman. The Birdman of the prison. But they all get this car eventually, like, fixed up and running. That it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous vehicle. So everyone's kind of laying around, and they're drinking basically prison wine, hooch, whatever you want to call it. And I guess it's super strong because Frank's like, ugh.
I thought it was crappy and cheap.
Something like that, but, you know, toilet wine or whatever they call it. So at one point, like everyone's kind of relaxing, and Frank and first base are sitting in the car, and first base kind of starts going on about how he never learned to drive, how he's never going to be a woman because he's basically
He's never going to be a woman.
never going to be with a woman again because he's in jail for life and everything.
He don't want to be a woman.
Yeah, that was just a total Freudian slip.
That was funny.
So,
That's what you're thinking about.
no,
You want me to be a woman?
sure, I'll get you a nice dress. But he basically says that he's going to teach first base how to drive. So basically, what they do is they put the car in neutral. First base is driving while Frank's pushing. He's saying, "Oh, look at we're down in Atlantic City. Look at those like," and they're just driving in circles in the garage. And
Gotta use your imagination.
and first base is like, "This is baloney. This isn't." He goes, "Come on," and he's trying to be Mr. Positive, Frank
Come on,
here.
Man, let's go.
So at one point when they eventually stop, Killer, he's like, "Okay, come on." See, I wrote Killer, and then it was first base as well, same character.
Killer's okay.
But
he earned that name.
Well, he said he was innocent. Anyways,
everybody in jail is innocent.
First base is basically like, I just want to turn. Once I get out, it's not real. It's not. He's going on. He goes, I just want to turn it over once, Frank. That's it. Turn it over once. And Frank's like, no, because if you make noise, they're going to come running. Well, eventually Frank gives in.
You know he was going to do it.
And lets first base turn the car on.
Otherwise, there'd be no forwarding of the plot.
Right. Well, Frank's like, okay, turn it off. Well, then everyone else is getting up like, what'd you do? Turn it off. They're going to come. And da-da-da. All of a sudden, first base puts it in drive, lays on the gas, and goes barreling out of the garage out into the yard. He's like going around. There's Frank chasing him, like, dude, they're going to kill it. Because they actually start firing at the car.
Out there.
And he's going on and on. The prisoners are trying to get out of the way. It's actually
exciting.
It's kind of funny to watch, but at the same time, you know, some shit's going to hit the fan with it. Well, eventually they get them. First base does stop the car. Guards come over, pull him out. They have both him and Frank up against the car. Warden comes out and basically says, give Frank 6 weeks in solitary. And first base is like, it's my fault. I should, he's trying to defend Frank, but obviously the warden has it out for Frank. And they start to take him away. And warden goes, no, wait up a second. And he starts getting Chink and all his Chink's cronies together, gives them baseball bats, and they totally destroy this car.
You knew that was coming.
Which, and it kind of just sits in the yard. Because I'm like, okay, they're destroying it. How are they going to get it out of the way? Well, later in the movie, they show it's still sitting in the yard.
In the rain.
And eventually it is back in the garage later, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Because they talk about, this is all his.
Yeah.
You
that's later.
Him.
So anyways, while Frank's in solitary, the warden is trying to torment him really bad, like really trying to break his spirit. So he literally has it that he's in there in his underwear every hour. They put a light on. He has to face the camera, state his number and his name. Is that what it is?
Yep.
All through the night. Like he can't get a solid night's sleep or anything. And then at one point they start halving his rations and everything. And believe me, I don't know how. I mean, great, I know it wasn't full 6 weeks.
That means they're not going to feed him as much.
Yeah. But no, I'm just saying, like, I don't know how anybody would stay sane in a situation like that. And I know this is just a movie.
But he's tough.
Well, in the middle of all this, too, while he's in there and we're cutting back and forth, with his girlfriend. And then the one guard that kind of is on his side sees that they're keeping Frank's mail from him. Like, he gets mail they've just been throwing in the drawer, and the guard's looking, the other guard's like...
You think they'll throw in the garbage if they don't...
Right, yeah, that's just it. So, eventually, after 6 weeks, he is released from solitary, but not before a couple of the warden's guard cronies go in and kind of beat the crap out of him a little bit more. Meanwhile, he's so run down and everything, even though he's been, like, doing push-ups and what he can in solitary. And then the guard that's kind of for him, he like refuses to participate. So him and the one guard, who's a real jerk anyways, like we're trying to start to get into it. Well, the head chief guard, whatever he is, shows up and he's like, what the hell's going on? I don't condone this. Who ordered this? And they're like, the warden. He goes, I don't give a shit what the warden ordered. Get out of here. He's just like, so I think at this point too, like some of them are I've said shit in other videos.
But you seem like you're really into this. Like,
well, no, because it frustrates me. I hate when people abuse power. And yes, I know it's only a movie, but it still drives me nuts.
But you do that.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't abuse power. I have no power.
You do it with me. Okay. We won't go into that.
So it's kind of like at this point, like some of the guards and even like the head guard are kind of questioning, I think, a little bit what the warden's doing.
Well, yeah.
So the one guard does escort Frank back to his cell, and he walks in, taking the cuffs off of him, and Frank says something to him, and all the guard says is, check under your bed or check under your sheets or something. So, and Frank's looking like, what are you talking about? So once the guard leaves, Frank looks and hear all his mail from his girlfriend's been
That probably
there.
made him feel a lot better.
Yeah, well, you could kind of tell he's like teary-eyed, like, what's going on here
That's
with
probably what made him
everything?
feel better
And
after all
yeah.
that.
So basically, when he goes back to the garage after all this, he kind of goes in, and first base is kind of like, he's looking at the car, and he's like, kind of like remorseful about it and apologetic. And first base is kind of like, well, we need to fix this. This is our car. And Frank kind of loses it, and he's like, nothing is ours. Everything is his. We fixed the car up. It's the warden's. This is the warden's. And he basically says, I have 3 weeks. I'm laying low. I'm not doing anything. And Frank kind of walks out at that point. So in the middle, eventually after all this, the warden has Chink up in his office. He goes, you were supposed to break him. You were supposed to do this. You're not doing anything. We need, because basically the warden's trying to do something to keep him in jail permanently. And he knows his time's running out. So Chink's like, well, we need to attack, I can't remember the exact wording, but basically attack something that means a lot to him. So
Yep.
They're at the...
I follow.
So like a day or two later or whatever, they're betting on cockroach races or something. And
I forgot about that.
first base kind of gets in trouble because he's not supposed to be where this is going on. And the guards bring him and say, well, you have to go clean the gym or something.
Bad mistake.
Sorry, guys.
You shouldn't have done that.
So the guards take up first base to the gym area, rec room, whatever it is. And he's like,
a pool table.
It's clean. And they're like, well, just clean it anyways or whatever. And they leave. So he's just kind of moseying around, plays pool and all that. And all of a sudden, the cronies start coming in. So he has the pool stick. He tries to defend himself, but the cronies eventually take him over, put him on a workout bench. Weight bench. That's the word I'm looking for.
Very good.
You guys know what I meant with this. And basically, Chink eventually comes in. And I don't know how much weight is on the barbell.
Don't say.
But I mean, it's significant enough. But Chink basically pulls it up and drops it on first base, and it basically kills him because it looks like it crushes his chest.
Yep, that's what it does.
So eventually, somebody gets to one of the other inmates gets to Frank, who's working. I think he's still working in the garage or whatever. And he's like, it's first base.
Woo!
And
so I keep thinking
I know
when you say that.
And Frank's like, what? And they're like, something like they got first base. Well, he eventually gets to the rec room, finds first base dead.
Yep.
And he kind of loses it. He basically takes one of the weights, puts it into a towel. And he's like, oh, they want to do this. They want to break me. Now they're going to get it. Excuse me, and I'm going to get the hiccups. So he goes out into the yard. Basically, the cronies start coming after him, so he's fighting his way through. Well, eventually, Chink gets to him. So they're fighting it out, and eventually he beats the shit out of them. So there's a weight bench in the yard there, so he takes Chink over.
A lot of weight benches there.
Yeah, a lot of places. So he lays Chink's body, even though he's battered and bloody. The warden's watching, and the guards aren't breaking anything up at this point either. So Frank goes over and he lifts the weight up like he's going to do exactly what Chink did to first base. And you see the warden go, do it. And basically Frank realizes, oh, if I do this, I'm going to be in for life. So he puts the weight down. I think the guards try to start breaking things up at that point, and somebody comes through with a shank and stabs Frank in his back, like upper back area, right below,
close enough,
somewhere in that area. So he ends up in the infirmary after all this, recovery. So he's in like a cell in the medical area and everything. Well, his girlfriend finally meets with the warden and agrees to let her see him and basically have a conjugal visit.
Aww.
there. He's being a little too nice, so there's an ulterior motive there.
He wants to watch.
And well, they take her picture for an ID, which comes into play later. But basically, she gets escorted there by the 2 guards that are assholes as well, kind of part of the warden's crony crew. And
crony crew?
They basically set it up so they can have privacy, and they're like, you got 30 minutes. Well, just when it starts getting good, the guards come and go, time's up. And like they start arguing, and they're like, well, because he was like, we're supposed to have 30 minutes. And they're like, well, the warden changed his mind. And, they're basically trying to egg Frank on a little bit because they're like trying to grab his girlfriend to get her out of there. And he's like, you will not touch her. They're trying to do anything they can at this point to get Frank in more trouble.
Yep.
So she agrees to leave. And then sometime during the night, he's, I think, washing up or something. He's in his cell, and this random prisoner in a wheelchair comes out and is talking to him, saying, oh, I know you were in here. And they're just kind of shooting the shit about where they've been and everything. And the guy goes, yeah, I got a job. He was like getting out the next day. He goes, yeah, but I got a job. It pays well. And it comes out, he has a picture of Frank's girlfriend, and basically saying the warden wants him to rape and kill her, and he gets $500 for every time he makes her scream or something. Well, naturally, nice. Frank loses it.
Well, obviously.
And the prisoner isn't wheelchair bound. He just gets up. He goes, you're going to get screwed. Da, 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 and he leaves. Well, one of the crony guards show up, and they're like, there ain't nobody here. You can't use, like, he wants to use the phone to call and warn her. And they're like, nope, no, you're not. So then the next morning, Dallas, who happens to be on laundry detail in the infirmary, comes to Frank's cell, and Frank's like washing up, and he's like, Dallas, come here, like trying to talk low. And he basically tells Dallas he wants to bust out, and he gives him a note with stuff. So basically, Dallas comes back that night. They're able to escape. And they get to this one certain part, and Frank goes, we got to go this way. And Dallas is like, no, we got to go this way. So eventually they go, and what happens is Dallas basically sets Frank up.
As if you didn't see that coming.
But earlier in the movie, when Frank was talking to Dallas, he said DTA, don't trust anyone.
And Frank, you mention that now.
Yeah, and Frank didn't heed his own advice. So basically what it comes down to is Dallas let the warden know, and the warden and a couple of the guards show up in riot gear. And Dallas was like, I had to do it. You told me DTA. I have 30 years. They're going to get me a break. And the warden's like, oh, no, we don't make deals with prisoners. So basically the warden screws them both over. So Dallas kind of gets the crap beat out of him as well. And they throw him in the water. And they're like, oh, look, shit does float.
I think you like saying that a lot.
Shit.
Okay.
Okay.
If it gets flagged, then don't complain to me.
Hey, I forewarn people there's language.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't dropped an F-bomb on any of them, so...
Yes, you did.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't remember.
I do, because I was offended.
You're funny. So basically, they start fighting. Dallas, eventually comes through. He's trying to apologize to Frank to help him out. The one guard that got knocked in the water is, choking Frank with a chain. And Dallas, breaks loose this electrical wire cord thing. He's basically holding it above water that him and the guard are in. And he's basically like, you let him go or I'm going to do it. So he lets Frank go, and Frank's like, don't do it, Dallas, don't do it. And the guard's basically egging him on. He's like, you're a wuss, you're not going to do it. Da-da. So Dallas does put it in the water and electrocutes himself. And it's the asshole guard. So I was thumbs up on that one.
For him.
Thumbs up for him.
You see, he cared.
Yeah.
He's a good prisoner.
Eventually the SWAT team starts getting sent out. They're trying to watch all these cameras to find Frank.
Yeah, it's a good part. I like his part.
So Frank actually does the shimmy shank. Not really, but he does.
What?
Well, the part where he's trying to escape with the hot
Yeah, you just said it.
pipe. I was shimmy. What was it? The shimmy shake.
Shimmy slide.
Slimmy. Whatever.
What? Shimmy, gimme guy.
Yeah. So the one head guard, chief, whatever he is talking to the warden, and they're like, okay, we think he went this way. So they're looking outside, and the warden's just stressing no outside agencies. So the head guy's questioning, why aren't we calling the police and the FBI? And the warden's like, no. So obviously, this raises more suspicion. So eventually Frank shows up in the warden's office, and then he takes him down to the execution room, which is just like the best part of the movie.
I told you.
Best part. I loved it. So Frank basically straps the warden into the electric chair, and once he gets him set, he starts like discussing, like, because there's like 4 levers there or something. So he goes, "You're saying about 10 years, how about 20?" And he's flipping the
You see how
levers.
electric chair works, right?
Yeah, you have to flip all the levers. So he doesn't flip the 4th one, and he ties himself to it. And eventually everybody converges on this room. And basically they're like aiming guns at Frank, and the warden's like, "Don't shoot him, don't shoot him." And Frank's like, shoot me, because basically if he would have got shot, the lever would have got pulled and the warden would be dead. So basically Frank said, like, confess what you did, and the head guards there and a few of the other ones, and warden's like begging for his life and everything. Well, eventually he confesses to everything, all the corruption, how he set Frank up, everything else, because like people were questioning, like, Frank had 3 weeks left, why would he escape, and all that. So eventually he confesses everything, and everyone's looking like, okay. And I can't remember if any of the crony guards are
It's
there
okay.
or
Get
not.
to the part.
But anyways, he's going to, he's like, "I'm going to pull it anyways," and they're like, "Frank, don't do it, you're going to get charged with murder." So he does pull it. The warden acts like he's getting electrocuted, and it didn't turn on. So everyone's looking like, why? This is supposed to be working. Why isn't this working? So Frank I don't know if it was in the pocket or what, he pulls out, he took one of the fuses out. And he goes, "Well, I guess you kind of need this." And he throws it to the head guard. And the warden's like, "Well, this isn't, he's basically trying to cover his ass at this point." And the head guard's like, "Well, arrest him." Well, they end up arresting Frank, and he says about arresting the warden. The warden's going on like, "I was just doing it to save my life. I was just telling him what he wanted to hear." And he goes, "Well, you're under arrest until there's a full investigation." So then we
See part 2. No, just kidding.
There is no part 2.
No, this is good.
So basically it goes to the end. Frank is, when they're arresting Frank just basically says to the head guard, he only wanted to do his time and get out.
Yep.
And the head guard's like, "Well, you'll have to wait and see. Basically, we have to investigate." So basically it ends with the head guard escorting Frank out of prison, and he is released. You don't know what happened to the warden. So,
Well, you kind of know what happened to him, probably.
well, if he was convicted, he's probably a dead man.
Or he's probably in there with the other prisoners.
That's what I mean. He's a dead man.
Oh, I thought you meant he got the chair.
He's a dead man if he's in the general population.
Probably.
But yeah, that was it. Like I said,
That movie in and of itself.
yeah, I mean, and him and his girlfriend connect. They drive off into the sunset and live happily ever after. Whatever.
Maybe.
Question mark. No.
Hey, you never know.
Like I said, this is my first time watching this. I did really enjoy it. You don't realize the time when it's going.
It's good.
It's a good Stallone movie. I am a fan of Stallone. Some of his stuff, anyway.
Oh, you like Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Oh, God, that movie's god-awful.
And that other one where he's in Spy Kids or something?
No, yeah. We're actually going to be doing a best and worst list of Sylvester Stallone movies, so stay tuned for that list. But I think I said, unless Bluto has anything to add.
No, but I suggested this movie. I told you it was good.
Yeah, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. Would watch it again.
It's a good thing I crashed here, otherwise you wouldn't have seen any of these.
Yeah, I guess so, because there's a few of these I've never seen and have totally enjoyed. So.
Yep, because of me.
Yep. So please remember to like, comment, subscribe, bell icon so you know when we post new content. Share the page, it'd be greatly appreciated. Amazon wish list if you want to help us out with anything. If there's something you want us to review and you're willing to get it for us, let me know. I'll add it to the list. I do got to add more things on there. Check out my other channel, K-Dog Games, Toys, and More, kind of toy game reviews. This one's over there occasionally.
Sometimes.
His friend Boris has been helping me with a couple things.
But you don't want him in the videos anymore.
Boris has been hiding.
Yeah, because you don't like him.
I love Boris. Like, I love you.
Well, maybe he'll come back.
So, that's pretty much it. Stay tuned. We're going to do some more. We have a couple more reviews here to do tonight, some lists, and we're going to add some trailer first impressions we decided to do. So,
something different.
Something different.
Look forward to that.
So, we'll see you next one.
Bye. Bye.